Mills. Welcome to TC Band. Welcome to our 10-year anniversary, sponsored by MDI, hosted by General Mills. We are super happy to have everyone here. I'm going to be very brief. My name is Carmen Bryant. I'm a principal engineer in our snacks R&D area. So if you need anything during this time, please let me know. We want to accommodate. I'm Southern, so we're gonna feed people. We're gonna eat. For lunch, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ham. Okay. All right. Chicken, turkey. Okay, let me stop. But no, we will definitely have a good time today. If you need restrooms, women's restroom is out here. You've been notified of that. Men's restroom over here. If we do happen to have a fire emergency or any emergency here, we'll go down a couple of escalator flights and then we'll go out the door. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. But we're looking to have a very good time. Everybody looks great. I'm so happy to see so many beautiful people in person. I can't see you online, but I'm sure you're beautiful there too. So if you need anything, please let us know. Make yourself at home, and we're just happy to have you. Okay?
Thank you, Carmen. Can everyone hear me? Yes. All right. So my name is Eric Alexander. And for those who've known me for the past 10 years, this is my excited face. So I'm excited to be here. So I'll need my clicker. I'll need it to click. That was my soothing jazz music. And this is my agenda. So excited to have everyone today. We'll start off with the TC Band overview. I'll talk about our history, and then I'll talk about why we exist, and I'll provide an opportunity for one of our esteemed attendees to talk about her experience. Then we'll transition to MDI, who is our sponsor, and then then we'll give away some tickets to the Timberwolves team. True Pettigrew's in the back. He's our partner with the Timberwolves. They came through with 30 tickets for us, so we're excited about that. Then we'll transition to Eric Black, who will talk about his experience and his role as a sponsor. Then we'll do our breakout groups, 2 sessions of those. Then we'll have lunch. We have a game break at lunch, and we'll have a guest host who looks very similar to me to do the game break. Then we'll do a keynote at the back end, and then we'll wrap up. So we're excited for a good day. So TC Band. TC Band was founded in 2013, which explains why we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary today. It was founded when I worked here at General Mills, and so it's it's great to be able to do a full circle, to have started here and to be able to celebrate our 10-year anniversary here. Founded TC Band to create an opportunity for Black professionals to connect, build relationships, share, learn, and grow together. As you can see from the crowd here, it's a great opportunity to see Black excellence on display. And one of the pieces of feedback I got when I first started at TC Band 1 or TC Band 2, someone stopped me and said, I didn't know there were this many Black people in Minneapolis. And so maybe we got them all in this room together during the event. So this is our timeline. So we're founded in 2013. Then we expanded hosting from General Mills to other locations within our sponsor organizations. We went online and we added the LinkedIn group. During COVID, we started to do virtual sessions, which created a broad opportunity for us. And so initially we were only 100% in-house here at General Mills, and then we expanded to virtual within the US. And then you'll see shortly a part of the slides that we expanded outside of the US. So that's exciting for us as well. Then we became an incorporated nonprofit, and now we're a 501c3. And as a CEO of a nonprofit, I'm legally obligated to ask for money. And so if you work for a foundation and you're interested, you like what we're doing and you want to help contribute, connect with me after the session. All right, so our vision. So our vision is professional excellence through strategic collaboration. And we executes its vision through 3 key deliverables. Our vision is that we leverage the scale, scope, and skills embodied within our Black Affinity Network and broader community to execute against 3 key principles: delivering, building, and creating. Delivering professional development, creating cross-organizational alignment opportunities, and creating a safe space for everyone to learn and grow together. So results: over 4,000 planning hours from the board, and you'll see a picture of them later. Over 100 development sessions, 166 presenters, over 4,000 attendees, 12,000 hours of development, and as a result, a more developed, engaged, and competent TC BAND community. This is our board. If you're a board member, can you stand for me? A current or past board member. I'd also like to call out our core sponsoring organizations, the organizations that host our events. So started here at General Mills, but Cargill, Target, Wells Fargo, Best Buy, US Bank, and Best Buy are great partners for us. So why we're different? So there are lots of great organizations doing great things within the broader community and the Black community specifically. So what makes TC BAND different? And so when I looked at this, I thought about 2 things: what you don't and what you can. You don't need to be a member of a large organization. You don't need to be on the executive track. You don't need an advanced degree. You don't have to pay a fee to attend events. And you don't have to feel isolated within your organizations. What you can do, you can be honest, transparent, and safe. You can be a non-Black member of a Black ERG. You can be self-employed or a consultant or work for the government. You can bring your whole self, and not like the 75% of your whole self that you bring when you're actually at work. When you say you bring your whole self. Then you also have fun, learn, and expand your network. And I was talking to Eric, and this came up as well. We get to say the silent part out loud here. And so as you talk about bringing 80% or 75% or 50% of your whole self to work, in this room, in this space, in our calls, in our meetings, you can bring the whole self, and we're okay with it because we see you part of our family, you part of our community. You come to dinner at Thanksgiving. We know what you're bringing to the table, and we embrace and we appreciate it and we value it. So our reach, and this is my favorite slide of the deck. Again, as we talked about earlier, we started here at General Mills, one location, primarily focused in Minneapolis, and then we started to expand during COVID, and now we have representation in 29 states, plus the District of Columbia. I'll pause for applause. Now, the benefit of Zoom is that you have Zoom and internet everywhere, right? And so what are we doing outside of the US? 6 countries, 4 continents. That's another, I'll pause again. And we have membership of over 1,300 members across the country. Now, we can't all show up at once because we can't afford to feed everybody. So we cycle it through, but 1,300 members of our community. So we're excited about that. And then I was excited. So Ghana, thanks to General Mills team, we got Ghana on board for this event. So we're excited to kind of make that full circle back to the continent. These are some of the organizations that we represent. Again, it's not all inclusive because there are organizations that are represented here that aren't on the slide. But again, it shows the scope of the organizations: large organizations, small organizations, individual companies. We have a few students as well. So we're excited about the breadth and the scope of the organizations that have the opportunity to partner with us. Now, so I talked about the what, and I talked about the why. I want to talk about the who. And so we have one of our members who's going to come and talk about her personal experience and provide a testimonial around how she joined TC BAND and how the knowledge and expertise and the insight that she gathered from TC BAND impacted her directly in her career. So please help me in joining or welcoming Rejoice to the stage here.
Thank you, Eric, for that. First of all, I'm going to start with a quick question. It's a rhetorical, you don't have to answer. But how many of you here felt stuck in your career at some point? Just give me a thank you for your honesty. So, like Eric said, I work for Wells Fargo, and I'm actually in the risk and control space. So I support build outs of risk management programs, and also we implement policies and procedures around risk management. I started coming to TC BANDD about 6 years ago, and I came stuck, unknown to me that I had this many professionals within the Twin Cities, and I'm going to touch on the 3 major areas that changed my career. I've mentioned this to Eric, and I'm going to say it honestly. Coming to TC BANDD, listening to all the different programs, walking away with tools and strategies on how to advance my career, not only brought growth to my career, it also tripled my income. So I can tell you this much. First of all, inspiration. When I came here.
Yeah, I was wondering if anybody's gonna clap or tripled my salary.
First of all, I was inspired, right, to come in here and see people that look like me winning in the marketplace. So they, folks who come in here, and most of the speakers will look like me, right? In addition to being Black, I moved from Nigeria 17 years ago. So that means I had to relearn everything, if you will. So coming here and getting inspired and walking away knowing I can be that officer or VP or whatever it is.
Were we able to print
the second takeaway for me was just the programming, right? There's always a tool. One of them was performance review, right? I would work my tail end from Monday through Sunday, and I felt like nothing was moving. And I had to, walking away from one of the meetings, I remember having a conversation with my skip manager and saying, what do you really want, right? Help me understand what I need to do. And then I got tips and I ran with that, and the rest is history. The final point is networking. Given my personality type, I probably wouldn't network on a good day, but coming here every single meeting I attend, networking was always highlighted. You need to network, you need to talk, you need sponsors, you need mentors. And I would go out there and, yeah, I'll try. And before you know it, the current role I'm in actually got a call. Like, hey, what's your next move? Do you want to take this on? And I'm like, why not? So that's how I ended up here. So I want to just inspire those of you that are here coming for the first time, just keep coming. You never know. You meet people that look like you, you're free, it's safe, you can ask questions. And then finally, for those that have probably arrived, you can inspire another person, meaning you can come here and teach somebody else, somebody walk away and benefit as well. With that, I want to say thank you to the board members. Honestly, the amount of work you guys put in, I can tell. And I appreciate it because some of us are standing here because we benefited from this organization. Thank you so much. And back to you, Eric.
Just stunned by that triple my income thing. Maybe Rejoice, you can come back and you can teach the session. So Rejoice, thank you for sharing your experiences and your personal story. It's just an example of how you can make the most of an opportunity and leverage the opportunities, the connections, the network, the knowledge, the expertise, and implement that in your career and have direct and differential success as a result. So now I want to bring up our founding 4 board members, founding 4 minus 3. So founding board members are myself, Eric Black, Dronell Foster, and Ken Charles. Ken Charles has been kind enough to do agree to do our keynote, so we will hear from him on the back end. But please join me in welcoming Eric and Dronell.
Good morning. Are you guys excited? Because we are super excited to be here.
So
bring a chair up a little bit. All right, cool.
I appreciate the group welcoming me here.
Awesome.
So I have the privilege as a CEO and the board chair for TC BANDD to interact with some of the most talented people in the world. And these are 2 of them, and the rest of the board, Paul's and I group as well. They challenge me, they push me, they drive me to do more. I think I'm doing something good, and then, nah, Eric, you can elevate that again. So keeps me on my toes. I wanted to ask a couple of questions. So first, Dronell, 10 years ago, did you think we'd be sitting here?
I did not. I did not see the vision of, where we are today, but who would have thought? And again, to be able to have an imprint on this community and beyond, amazing. And I just want to just give you kudos because I remember when we met at a Target event, you had this idea. It was a small idea, and you found all these other people to come with you to build out this strategy, implement the idea, and just the blood, the sweat, the hard work. It's produced results and it's paying off. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you guys for being on this journey for 10 years. 10 years is a long time to do anything.
A
lot of
lot's
lives.
changed.
Yeah, a lot of lives have been impacted over 10 years for sure.
But even for us personally,
It's
we think about the growth. when we-
you heard Rejoice's story. It's hugely impactful, and I'll spend some time with that when I kind of go through some of the MDI stuff. But I would say that when we came together, I was frustrated, and so I was looking for something new. And it wasn't that I was at a great Cargill's was a phenomenal company, taught me a lot of things, but I had a vision of what growth could look like, and I struggled to figure out how to do it in a large enterprise. And I think with conversations with Eric, I began to see, do I just want to impact people inside my organization, or am I inspired and blessed to impact people everywhere? And I think TC BANDD came to me at a time when I remember that it's funny, but I remember the day I was frustrated, I was mad, and I was taking a shower. I hadn't even got in the car to drive to work, and I was already upset, right? And it was because I didn't think we were putting the breath behind the programs that we could at the time, right? I thought we could do more. And so when Eric came, I was at a point in my life where didn't know what to do. Like, I think I should be doing this. I should be uplifting people. I should be able to do this, but I didn't have a vehicle. And I think his idea really created that vehicle for which you can impact others, and you didn't have the same barriers. Now, we still needed those same companies to come along the journey, couldn't do it without them, but we created the vehicle, and that vehicle was really lacking in the past.
I was just going to add on kind of where I was at 10 years ago, being a corporate transplant. Raise your hand. I know that some of us still exist around here, corporate transplants. Coming from the West Coast into the Midwest, I struggled just getting community, finding my tribe. And I think you came along at a time where, I'm in human resources, I'm an HR business partner trying to have some impact, but how do we do it on a larger global scale? How do I make some of these deeper intentional connections, these relationships? I know that I'm going to be here in the Midwest for a while, but how do I make the most of it and find people that identify as I do, have similar dreams, aspirations, hopes for themselves, for their careers, and just trying to figure out how to do that on, again, a grander scale. And so this came at a perfect opportunity. For me, I was looking for community, looking for network, but also, the professional development. Yeah, I got some development at my organization. I didn't have it at the scale that we were able to do here with TC BANDD, and it's been a game changer. So we talked about tripling net income. I know about tripling net income, and I give a lot of kudos to kind of this platform, this community, all the speakers, all the organizations that have poured into this, because I don't think it would have been possible. Sitting here right now, vice president, I probably have had about 6 different jobs, about my board work. Started at a very small nonprofit. I represent Wells Fargo on 3 priority boards. So I'm a trustee with the Science Museum, the Cookie Cart, my new fellow board member at the Cookie Cart, the Minnesota Black Chamber of Commerce. For those of you coming into the entrepreneur session, you're going to hear a little bit more, but just so many different things. And it's just elevated my personal gain and thinking about my give back, thinking about community. So entirely blessed to, be here with all of you. And again, to be on this journey together, to whom much is given,
much is required.
Much is required. And so if not us, who's going to do the work? Who's going to put in the work? I think about all those Thursday meetings at 4:05 for how many years?
Year 10.
But not even
I know that.
years,
I know
the
that.
weeks. The weeks throughout the year, we take a little bit of a quiet pause, and then we get back to work all over again. And again, no complaints about our why. We knew our why and our collective why. So, yeah.
That's a great point. So I think we all know who the funniest person on the board meetings is. Is that, can I get Oh, it's Drenell, I guess.
No, no,
yeah.
I won't take that.
And so I get a lot of questions regarding 10 years. It's been a long time. How do you stay engaged? How do you stay driven? How do you stay involved, right? And so part of it is this event today. It's part of the calls. It's part of the energy and the passion and the drive that we absorb from you and as attendees. And so Eric, we were excited this morning. We're excited for the last week or 2 weeks.
Yes.
Like we get to see our community. We get to share content. We get to drive results. We get to have fun. We get to joke with each other. And again, we're a family. Our board's a family.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I'm like the bad uncle or cousin,
Yeah.
all right? But we hang together. We
Eric makes sure we get work done. Let's be clear. You know, he is the driver of a lot of different things. And again, just having a strong, solid team. But you do drive us and hold us accountable, which we appreciate.
Got it. Thank you. And the part that we also do is we're clear on our goal. Our goal is about impact, and the goal is about you all as attendees. Everything we do comes through that lens. You know, we sacrifice, we do whatever, we work, you know, you see those 4,000 hours of development. I mean, of training and planning. I mean, that's family time and weekend time and, you know, that kind of time. But, you know, it's important to us to do our best to make sure you have all the opportunities. And one of the things that we talk about consistently is, you know, based on our background and our experiences. And I talked to the Ken Charles about this at lunch yesterday. My son comes in my office when I'm working from home on Zoom and sits in my lap and watches or behind me or waves to the board or in my meetings at work. And so he has an experience that's different than I had. I didn't know what corporate America looked like when I was growing up. I didn't have a model or someone who I could aspire to say, I can do this or do that. Or like my brother's opportunity, I have a younger brother. He comes to me and he says, all right, I applied for a job. They offer me this. How do I negotiate it? You know, I'd like to relocation. How do you do this? Well, no, there's no one available to have that conversation with me, but I'm able to have that conversation with him. And we're able to have that conversation with each other and provide, you know, pull back the curtain a little bit and a little bit of the mystique. And we have executives, C-suite executives, entrepreneurs, small business owners, individual tenured professionals who can come in and say, you know, I've seen that, I've done that. This is what I've done. You can try this, you can do that, you can do this. And if you work really, really hard, you can triple your income. And I'm going to keep saying that.
Yeah.
So Eric, what surprised you about the impact of our work?
Yeah, I think it is that individuals have been able to take what's been fostered here by the people who have agreed to present and hearing the stories of how that changed their life. I think I've found, especially if you're a transplant here, there's a Minnesota nice. So it's hard to break into certain circles to have trusting conversations. And we really got to get to those trusting conversations for us to be exposed and be vulnerable. And this kind of creates an environment where we can be vulnerable so we can talk about the real things and we can kind of peel the layers of the onions back. So just hearing when people come back up and say, hey, I'm still rocking with y'all. This is what this did for me. It makes it feel like it's more of a calling than some of the things that you can maybe be doing in your day job. You know, I've been blessed beyond what I've ever deserved. And we all have a lot of similar backgrounds, which didn't paint a path the way it is. And so having the avenue to give back, but those sharing that you have impacted me. I think True was telling me earlier today, have you reflected on how many people you've had a chance to impact? And I honestly had to say, no, I don't know. We keep moving forward and we really haven't, I don't know that we've ever paused to think about lives or impact. And it's just been more like who else, right? We've always been not satisfied and more about it. So I'm at all on that, but I've seen many programs come and go. I think we all have seen, they all got different names. They're really cool at the corporation for a year, at the job for 2 years. If it makes it 3 years, it's making the Hall of Fame. So you don't think there could be a program like this that has that sustainability? I don't have another proxy to put that to that just has and is able to put together a platform and it still remain free. I mean, that changed my life, is that we need to do things and we need to try to make sure we remove all barriers for someone to participate. Where it's just, if we can get your human self engaged, that's big. And now we're doing it virtual, right? Pre-COVID, there is no virtual. You know, we were forced to change just like everybody else. And I have a number of friends that are online today that couldn't be here in person. So just seeing our evolution, agility, and adaptability continues to change how I lead and how I, impact, another 400 plus people. But that all started here.
Got it. And that's a great point around the evolution. So initially, again, we were 125 people in one room 10 years ago. Now we're 125 people in a room, 80 people online, and then another 100 people who can watch this session on demand from their couch at any point in the future. And so again, creating opportunities, creating touch points. And one of the things that we have to do as a board is look at what success looks like for us in the future and what does attendance look like. So initially it was, we need 250 people in the room. Okay. Now we need 125 people in the room and 100 people online and 100 people, 50 people to watch it on demand. And that's an impact of 300 plus people versus the 125 that we impacted 10 years ago. So understanding and evolving.
Well, let me say one quick thing to that, and Janelle and any other board member can vouch for this. We ask for your feedback and surveys after this, and we use that data directly to derive the next session. Our presenters are rated, and on a scale of 1 to 10, most presenters are above 9 on average. If you're getting 8s, we're evaluating, we may have made a mistake. That's the quality of people that we find to put in front of you, is that we want them to be top tier. So it's free, but the talent get charged money any day to come speak. And so we hold ourselves to an exceptionally high bar to make sure that your time is extremely valuable. And I know those conversations.
I just wanted to add, I just came from Austin, Texas for 2 reasons. I was there for some leadership development training with an institution called ITSMF, Information Technology Senior Managers Forum, all Black. They've been around for like 20, 25 years in partnership with Afrotech. So I flew in last night from Afrotech, and it just made me think about the work that we're doing. I had flyers, I had business cards in my pocket and giving them out and telling them about, hey, this is a hybrid experience. Even talking to their founders about what we're doing in the ERGs. People want to plug into the ERGs badly, talking to money managers and like, well, you know, is there an opportunity to tap into your community, even though I live in Princeton, New Jersey? So just the reach, the amplification, the work that we're doing, it's so appreciated. And remind you, this wasn't something that started post George Floyd. We've been in the work for a while, committed, doing this collectively, you know, using our agency, our influence to bring to you this experience that you're experiencing today. So blood, sweat, tears, but also if it's 100 people, if it's 50 people, if it's 5 people, we're thrilled and just so grateful that you're here.
Got it. And one thing, again, I keep quoting the wise Ken Charles, and we'll talk about that at the end. But one of the things he said initially when we were talking about attendance and what our attendance targets were, he's like, your job is to create the plate. Your job is to put the food on the plate, yes. And then the attendees determine if they're going to attend it or not. So if it's 5 people or 10 people, to your point, as long as you get a good plate of food, we've done our job. We've created the opportunity, whether you take advantage of it or not, that's your call. But our job is to create the opportunity to engage. To your point, and I have a question for you as we wrap up. One thing, it's just amazing for us is sometimes you get too close to things, like you get too close to the sun, and you can't see it. So sometimes we don't realize the impact that we have. And as I walk through the numbers, 4,000 and 12,000.
I had seen
right?
the
I mean, it's
growing
kind of
number, accumulation.
Hard to get your head around that. And so I have conversations with like Harvard, and I'll continue to drop Harvard as a name drop through our presentation today. But have a conversation with their staff, and again, they're partnering with us. They did a session with us this year. They're going to do another session for us in December. But talking with like Harvard professors, they're saying, "Wow, you doing that? How are you doing that? What are you doing? What's your model? What's your structure?" I'm impressed. So a Harvard Business School professor sat on a call with me and said, "I'm impressed with what you're doing and the impact that your organization's having." Again, that's a testament to you all as attendees, your engagement, and then the hard work of the board and our founding board that kind of had stayed on the journey, on the path with me for 10 years. And I really appreciate that, awesome. Both personally and professionally. Janelle, can you talk quickly about kind of your continued growth journey? So how you continue to grow and develop and how you leverage TC BANDD as an opportunity to do that?
Yeah, you know, I think about coming into the space, starting as a HR business partner, right? Getting tired, feeling stuck, you know, hitting that glass ceiling. I'm like, I got to do something different. And so even as we plan, how are we also taking the learnings, the teachings from all the different speakers, the executives, the subject matter experts, and applying that to our own selves? Eric, I think about you getting your first CEO job and that email that you sent to us, because we too have been family, but I've had at least 6 different jobs since 2017. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like I've cracked the code.
Mhm.
I'm over in technology right now. I'm getting a little bit of an itch. I've been here for 2 years. I'm thinking about what's next and, you know, getting closer to that C-suite. If that's what I choose to do. I started as a teller at Wells Fargo, a teller, and now I'm a senior vice president in technology. And I tell you, these last several years, you know, moving around different functions, you know, sitting in the digital and payment space, moving over to the enterprise DEI role, going over to treasury management, now being in technology, driving employee engagement. I've had a beautiful career. It continues to ascend, and I get calls. And I think that's another compliment just to that ongoing lifelong learner ability that I have, the intellectual curiosity and that opportunity to take calculated risk. You know, even when I'm nervous, when I'm scared, I got to go try it. I got to go try it, see how it works out. If not, boomerang back. It's okay. But at the same time, get that bag.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, so those are just a couple of things, and that's my story, but I know all of us have similar stories, but also thinking about how am I reaching back? You know, that's my main commitment, is making sure I'm reaching back and helping to lift up others. So as I've kind of blazed the trail, bringing other people along. And so this is kind of part of my legacy. This is something that I will forever remember and just be incredibly proud of the work, the impact to our community. When we think about breaking, you know, the generational wealth gap, this is the way that we're going to be able to do that.
Thank you. I can take one question. Who has one question for the panel? Yes, please. In the back, red jacket. Oh,
Another board member.
So
She was on the journey.
what's up? Philstrom was on our first founding board in 2013.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, sister.
Kevin, I'm at Target. So you all been working together for 10 years. Janelle, you talked about a lot of opportunities of growth and change in your personal life. I assume everyone has had that. Can you just talk about how you maintain healthy communication as your life balance has been changing while you've been growing this organization?
Yeah, I would say we found something to get us all committed around. And I go back to the transplant part. None of us are from here. And so it's just tough to crack in here. And my friends, I'd have friends and my friends would leave. I have some more friends, they leave. This gets cold here, man. I mean, they leave, right? And so it's tough to build that. So for us, it was a blessing to find something to hone ourselves around that we were all passionate about. And it was always something outwardly focused. You get something from this, but the work we do is very much outwardly focused. And I think that kind of really helped us create that. So I would say while you're here, you network, you meet friends, is to find something to rally behind that's common and also outwardly focused. I think that builds stronger community and friendships.
And I'll just add, because I also heard a different part of the question. You know, as we've been around for the last 10 years, and even as a team, there's been times where someone's had to tap out, you know, like take a pause because our career is doing something else right now. But we know that we have a strong foundation. We trust each other. We believe in, you know, decisions that are being made by this team. And that's how we also keep that going as well. So again, I think that trust and the knowledge, knowing that good decisions are always going to be made. And at the center of everything that we're doing, it's centered around all of you. So that's what I would add as well.
She's throwing shade. I missed the last meetings or two. So I caught
I've had to tap out just recently. So tell me what my job is. That's what I feel like I'm doing, literally.
Great, great. So we're at time. We'll have to try to make up a little bit of time as we move forward, and we'll probably compress lunch a little bit. So thanks again to the board for joining us. Our founding 4-1, and we'll have the one later. So thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing your insights, and thanks for being on this journey for me for the last 10 years.
Thank you.
Eric doesn't like to do the huggy stuff.
That's also part of my growth journey. You're up. So now we'll transition to Eric Black. He will review MDI. He's our first, as a 501c3, he's our first external sponsor, and we're excited to have him with us. And he'll talk about MDI. He'll talk about their journey, what's important to them, and he'll talk about how their vision and mission ties back to TC Band and why he thinks it's important to invest in the work that we're doing here and the work that we're doing in our community. So, Mr. Black. I do.
So, hold on. Is this hot? Am I hot? Hello, hello. Can y'all hear me? Not I can switch back. Y'all hear me? In the back, y'all hear me? All right, cool. So, MDI is an organization that really supports the inclusive employment for individuals with disabilities. I worked for Cargill for 23 years before I moved into the nonprofit space. And we talk about the evolution of what TC Band does. My last job at Cargill, I was in charge of global marketing for our animal nutrition business, beef, pork, poultry, and digital. And I went from a marketing role all the way to a CEO role. And that's not because that job in and of itself prepared me for that role. It's because of the 10 years of TC Band and the things I was exposed to that really prepared me for that role. So what do we do? The green button's supposed to, all right. Oh, I don't, the computer is not up here, so. That ain't working, man. Somebody probably did for me. So MDI is almost a 60-year-old organization. It was founded on the basis of trying to improve the quality for individuals with disabilities. It's a social enterprise, so individuals here at our job do work that really creates value for our customers, which is different than some nonprofits that really use money and invest back in the community directly. I have over 400 employees, and at times this year we got up as high as 600. 4 plants, 1 here in Minnesota and Northeast, and 3 up on the Iron Range in Hibbing, Cohasset, and Grand Rapids. We do about $40 million a year, so it's a sizable nonprofit. And of that, the majority of that goes back into the workforce with wages. Although we have over half of our workforce of individuals with disabilities, when I took over the company, we had already made a transition to ensure that nobody working for us made less than minimum wage. Starting in this year, this last period, I started to work in the philosophy that we can't talk about living wage while we're comfortable with somebody working for our company making minimum wage. And so we made that transition where nobody at MDI, no matter what your productivity level is, makes minimum wage. We're completely above that now. And now we're on a journey to think about how do we put more dollars in the hands of people to get toward living wage. We're 95% self-supported nonprofit, meaning we get dollars in the door that runs our mission. For the 3 years that I've been there, we've been over 100%, meaning that we could do our work and our mission without any dollars coming in the door. So we've been extremely blessed to increase our return on investment through the way that we drive business. What do we do? So you guys, everybody is going to get to leave today with our products. So we have the blue totes that we have out there. We make corrugated plastic products. We make them for the post office, Amazon, FedEx, Stitch Fix, Foot Locker, Nike, DHL. We make a variety of products, Frito-Lay, PepsiCo, that ship products around the world. And we also do custom designs. That's our complete plastics business, majority of what we do. But we also do kitting, packaging, collating, product testing. We have a medical division, so we do a lot of work for 3M on that side. But as you begin to be an entrepreneur, we're going to have that session later, and you think about scaling up, there are companies out there like an MDI that can assist you on that scale and really be able to do. We have a company called Written Hugs where they make greeting cards, but they got a huge order from a retailer and could no longer do all the correlating and assembly on that. They came to MDI, and we now do that work for us. So the entrepreneur gets to grow without putting a lot of money into infrastructure, and we get to put a diverse set of population to work. There are barriers, though, to people with disabilities getting a job, transportation barriers. There are many of my employees that spend over an hour getting to work and over an hour getting home from work. Workplace accommodations. We tend to think of those being expensive. Hiring individuals with disability often doesn't cost anything for accommodations than benefits all, or if it does, it's usually $500 or less one time. Discrimination. You know, what I've seen is there's definitely a level of discrimination that occurs that prevents individuals from getting a job. Being, you know, a Black African-American, I can relate to that. Imagine being a Black African-American and having a disability. You know, it's kind of a twofer. There's even more barriers to that. Lack of training, and that's one of the things that we've really built our enterprise to do, which is provide more inclusive training for individuals and make sure things are accessible. One of the key things I would say as I dig into what I would say the next part of the presentation, when I went there, I was prepared. So I'm going to talk about what I've done, but a lot of that's because of this. So I wanted to put MDI in the context of TC Band. I see myself as a TC Band kid. Sessions you're going to go today are what prepared me for a role like this. First off, I think you have to trust in your instincts. A lot of things that occur in TC Band, questions that get asked, things that come up, I hear the answers from the presenters, and a lot of times it's affirmation. We ask questions that intuitively we know that next step, but we ask somebody so we can kind of get the truth and the opening that maybe gives us a tweak. So sometimes you're going to find yourself without presenters, and you're going to need to trust in your own instincts to drive yourself to that next thing. And so within my first year, I had to create a strategy, and that was having meaningful impact for all people with disabilities, not just the 400 people that work for my company, but good and outside. And so how do we grow? How do we do workforce development? How do we lead? And how do we have advocacy? And being able to do that and rally a board and an organization behind it, it's because I had to trust in my instincts. It's because I spent a lot of time here learning from others about what I actually had in me and what I could bring to bear. That led to a pretty successful years. We impacted twice as many people as we had in the past, 97% highly satisfied customers. The people who do our net promoter score said they hadn't seen some of our survey results post-COVID, so we're extremely proud of that. $3 million worth of infrastructure investment. I launched a new program called Unified Work, which is a completely philanthropic program to get into the community and do training and development of both businesses and individuals with disabilities, but for free, no cost. Where do you think I got the whole notion that we should be doing things for free? It was from here in TC Band. We brung in about $800,000. We created a leadership training program. We had leaders there that were not getting developed. I knew that we needed to develop our leaders, so we treated a program to do that within our organization that didn't exist. 43 scholarships, we more than doubled the amount of scholarships we were giving out. We increased our web traffic, and then I exceeded my financial goals, right? At the end of the day, you got to be prepared. You got to know how to make money, not double, 20x what was expected of our organization. When I inherited MDI, it was a really great nonprofit. It had about $8 million in the bank, and anybody who's in the nonprofit world knows that's huge. At the end of October, we had 17 million just in the bank. So we've done a lot of good work. Now we're putting that back in the community. So we sponsored TC Band. So now rather than asking somebody for the check, I have the ability to write the check. And so it's an honor to actually be able to do that and put back in our community and to be able to give back. About 80% of our sponsorships now go to Black and African-American programs in the community, because I think that's where we need an uplift to do. The program that we created called Unified Work, within this last year, new program is trained over 320 people, put on 22 classes. And once again, we hold ourselves to a high bar and standard for doing it. So it just says, if you have something, it's novel, it's needed, you can get fast results really quick. Another thing that we did back in 2018, we had a new technology development track that we had in TC Band. And so I got to learn about things like blockchain, cryptocurrency. We also talked about AR and VR. And so part of creating something was to figure out, how do we impact individuals with disabilities in a different way so they get the experience before the experience. I don't have a mouse, but if somebody's controlling, if you could tap that one for me, that would be cool. It's not. Yeah, it's not coming up. All right. So I don't know if it's because of the mode we're in or if it's showing up in your second screen. So scratch that. It worked at home, man. I promise you. You know, I did it 2 or 3 times to make sure that it worked. I won't pause this long. Does this video pop up if you? Why don't y'all try to, what about the other one in the other box? It's not going. So let's scratch that. I'll work with them and maybe we'll show it during lunchtime. But what I'll show you is that we've introduced virtual reality so people can experience jobs before the job, go into a work environment, interact with that work environment. And that cube over there, I can show you that, it's augmented reality. So we can actually have people feel and actually interact with equipment before having that. Now we've changed the game for individuals with disabilities being able to have a conversation with a potential hiring manager about that workspace or job ahead of the time. The thing I would say is you are enough. You are so enough. It's unbelievable how enough you are. I learned that at TC Band. We're here to let you know that you got it. For me, I'll just give you an example. This is the program for TC Band 2. So back in 2014, we had Michael Ballard, Tiffany Boyd, Kim Strom, Mark Helvin, Leo Rhodes, Carolyn Wanga was over in D&I and Target at the time. John Taylor was over at Cargill, he was over at Medtronic, Cheryl Burrell, and Hakeem Al-Khalib, who's now an author, right? So you can go down this list. So not even only the people that were presenters, a lot of them have advanced in their careers, but we've had a phenomenal track and talent that we're bringing in, even in our second session. This was about advancing your career back in 2014. In 2015, after going through that track, I created this, what I call kind of the career map. Now family, our organization kind of markets this, but I looked at where I was professionally, education, the jobs I had done. I looked at what experiences I thought I needed at Cargill to get to what I would call an administrative role where I had business oversights. I was approving budgets. Nothing like putting forth a budget. Now I wanted to approve the budgets. Forget that. That was hard work, making a budget, have somebody tell you it's wrong. But trying to get to that role where I was actually in leadership. And my goal was to do it by the time I was 50. And just to say that I came inspired, I built what was necessary for me. And I got to the CEO role right at just as I turned 47, right? So I'm not quite 50 yet, and I've been in the job for almost 3 years. So TC Band can inspire you, but it's what do you do next after today, right? Some of this you have to take back, build it yourself, create it, and do it. Now I'm taking tools like this out, and I do this with all my mentees on their career tracks. We all have the ability to give someone a seat at the table. So I'll just give you a quick, we all do, by the way. And so an example of this, my sis here, L'Oreal, where's she at? Over there. That's it, L'Oreal. So I was able to hire on to MDI to do work for me, support me and our board. So you can say I gave her a seat. The thing I did was gave her a seat at my table. That role was not on our executive leadership team prior to her. So I brought her in to all the decision-making that our organization makes around budgets, capital, staffing, who's staying, who's leaving, all of that, she's there. So she's able to soak all that up, and now she works cross-functionally with all my teams. She can be my voice within the company. Now, she probably won't stay at MDI forever. I'm not asking her to stay there forever, but she's gonna leave with a whole new host of elevated experience because I gave her a seat, but I gave her a seat at that table. That's what's going to help advance her career. But we all have the ability to open that seat. And when we open it, let's stretch it. Let them eat at your table, not at that other table. TC Band introduced me. You got to have 3 types of people you want to surround yourself with. And I got mine from TC Band. Eric A., we dream. We have a ton of dreaming sessions. We create what we dream about. Drenelle, she's the hard worker. So when we're not putting forth work that's good enough, she calls it to task. She absolutely says this isn't good enough. And I do think it's good enough, but she says it's not good enough. And she says it with a straight voice, and she looks halfway mean when she says it. So we do more. And then Ken Charles, as Eric has already mentioned through several examples, he's the realist. He's the one who always keeps us honed in. And I remember when we first wanted to go national, it's like, yeah, not now. You're not ready, right? He just keeps us real. You want to go here, but you're not even ready yet. So surround yourself with the right people that give you a holistic view, but they have to be willing to play their part and role in this. Other thing I would say is I'll make sure this deck is available for all of you. If you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to help them build theirs. Sit on that, right? We all working for people, but here, Nene, is he here? He ain't here yet, is he? No, I don't see him. But when I first came to TC Band 1 and 2, he's in real estate. And at that time, he was helping Black individuals get their first home. And he was talking about wealth. I was making a good paycheck. I was like, cool with it, right? I didn't know about building wealth. And it's at TC Band that, we really started talking about how do you generate wealth? We have a wealth building thing we'll talk about today. Well, part of it was now as CEO is my wife and I starting a company called Living Truth to try to take all of that institutional knowledge and monetize it in different ways. That dream started from people here talking about how do you build wealth? And it isn't through somebody building wealth for somebody else. It's through you creating tracks. So anybody here who's an entrepreneur, who has a dream and trying to drive it, I would say you can do that through TC Band, but that idea started here. Now my salaries increased drastically. And my friends talked to me today. I said, I don't have a money problem. I have a spending problem. So anybody who's a financial assistant, you got to, hey, you start making more money. She's like, you spend it, True will tell you, sit at the front row of the Timberwolves game, that costs. I got a spending problem, right? So I gotta work on that now. So it's not building wealth. How do I maintain wealth, right? It ain't generational if I burn through it, right? So I gotta get that right. And then I give a hand up, not a handout, right? Keep that philosophy on, pull people up, don't give handouts. And for me, that was truly impactful. There's a lot of things going on in the world today, and we get to have a lot of the freedoms we have because of our servicemen and women. And so I would say the proudest moment I had this year was I was asked to mentor a servicewoman, a first sergeant within our U.S. Army. I got an opportunity. So we had really, Katie Reed, we got really great times to sit at my office, draw things on dry erase boards, have really great conversations about how to translate her military skills into civilian skills. I used a lot of the techniques we at TC Band in that mentoring session with her. She had a lot of turndowns and jobs before that. Now she's a business execution manager with Wells Fargo. But they did a newsletter, and so the CEO of this group, he was talking to me. He's like, hey, we want to get you in the next one. He's like, did you see the recognition in the newsletter? I delete a lot of stuff because I don't want to get caught with spam and this and that. It's like, no. So he shot it my way. And just her appreciation to thank me for helping her along that journey is probably one of the most impactful things in 2023 for me. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't been positioned by TC Band to do it. And so we always give back. We always want to lift up and pull back with what you learned today. I'll leave you with this. We're teachers and we're students. So we're students here to learn, but what you learn, you should teach. So if you have friends that are not here today, take what you learned today and teach it to somebody. Be a student today, be open today so you can be a better teacher tomorrow. This is the TC Band model. It's us training us and it's us learning from us. So today, I will be a student. I'm going to be they tell you yesterday I was geek, man. Wealth building, right? I got issues, right? I told you I got a new set of issues. I now have to go figure out how to solve those issues. So I'm going to that program intently to learn today as a student. Then I have to take those practices and put them to bear. So once again, appreciate the time. MDI, we love being able to sponsor, and I appreciate and hope that everyone has a great session.